I want to talk about not what you want to talk about, Brandon Tatum, which is they had nothing to do with this because I met them and I believe them. So noted. But if there is a witness, but having an argument with another person, a partier at Horn Island, that is significant.
Now, here is this mysterious letter. It's like written in a journal type style. Nolan decided to unfriend this group. They couldn't accept it. The ultimate motive, margin. Wow, hold on. Nolan jerks it back. This fuels his death. 12 hours later, Nolan already had Lincoln not to go to the pool party later. Long amicity with Wyatt. Guys, we didn't debunk this before.
Unfreaking believable. So I asked AI, what was this I have circled here? And this is what it told me. It says, looking closely at the circled area, the orange object appears to be a person's arm, forearm, and possibly part of their hand.
Now that I showed you that, so do you see how this BS goes on in this case?
Like, let's say someone else got a hold of the phone and started deleting messages. Would they still be able to see those messages?
It all depends on what's synced back to the cloud. So if Nolan's phone continued to have a cellular signal or connected to somebody's Wi-Fi and that data did sync up to the cloud, we start running into a data destruction period.
So a mysterious letter pops up today. And this letter is some lady or girl confessing that she saw a crime that happened on Horn Island involving an altercation. I'm going to explain to you why this letter is bringing up deja vu of some other narratives that were brought up before, and why this letter appears the day after those text messages of Warren and Christine were exposed. Plus, Nancy Grace, is she under fire? Because I've noticed, not just me, some other people have noticed some videos are missing off her platform. Could she have gotten a cease and desist? We're going to discuss that. And another thing. Now, some people have sent me a video asking me, hey, is this real? I can't believe this is real and I missed it. Well, I'm going to show you the video I was sent plus the original video, and we're going to compare it so we can see what is going on in real time, and I can tell you exactly what's going on. Stay tuned, Fugitive TV. Today is Nolan's birthday. I want to say happy birthday to him. My condolences do go out to the friends, his family, because no matter what has happened, his life shouldn't have been lost. From all the people who have spoken to me that actually have talked to him, they said that he was a wonderful person. So my condolences do go out to everybody, and happy birthday, Nolan. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do here is we take a look at cases of missing individuals, anything true crime, anything that needs a deeper look or a different perspective. Because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I ran for 15 years, living in different countries under different names, then eventually turned myself in. Now I'm a motivational speaker. I have this YouTube channel. I help family members locate missing individuals and even help them locate fugitives that maybe have done something horrific to a loved one. Well, we are continuing on with the Nolan Wells case, and I want to say thank you to everybody that has been following me, especially since this case, and that's been going to my channel looking for what's true and not true. Well, today there has been a mysterious letter that appeared online, okay? It just appeared. Nobody claims to know where this letter came from, which I find odd because that means somebody had to get the letter. I'm looking myself to see where I can find where the letter came from. Now, Officer Tatum was on the Nancy Grace show today. And we're going to talk about Nancy Grace because Nancy Grace has been under fire lately. But before we get on to her, Officer Tatum was on Nancy Grace. Now, he did say, I believe, that he reached out to the individual, I guess, who originally wrote the letter or the text. So I don't know if he found the original person or not, but me and my team, we're still trying to look and search out this original person. So if you guys know the letter that I'm about to show you and you know who the original person is, you can reach out to me. It could be anonymous. Even if it's you, just let me know because I have some questions. Well, this letter I find amazing because it dropped the day after the text messages dropped, okay? The text messages with Warren and Christine talking July 4th and July 5th. They're exchanging text messages. And I talked about this in my last video. This whole time, the Ben Crump side was giving us a story of the Wells family doesn't know who these kids are. There was no communication. They just lawyered up and then talked. Well, these text messages kind of told a different story. Like, hey, we've been talking this whole time. So now a letter surfaces today. All right. And this letter kind of gives me like deja vu of a narrative we heard before. Let me show you this letter. Now, here is this mysterious letter. It's like written in a journal type style. I am actually not going to read from this because it would take me all day to try and figure out exactly what this said. But the person actually who put this letter under a Twitter account, they did transcribe it over here. All right. And so I'm going to use this to the side, as a current marker for the letter. And I'm going to try and, see if there's any discrepancies between the two. So this says, no agency has authenticated them. Officials already warned about fake toxicology reports circulating. Now, this is what it says. Page 1. Nolan was not on an island when they first searched. Okay. He was stored somewhere cool and dark on a friend's property farm. Hiking trail, hint of smell in the shade. Then boated back to Horn Island around 3 to 5 a.m. July 6th. All right. Somebody cried Wyatt/Warren. Somebody scared to speak. Eric. Everybody threatened each other. All haunted motive. Nolan decided to unfriend this group. They couldn't accept it. The ultimate motive margin. Wow, hold on. Nolan decided to unfriend the group. Okay, and this was the motive because he didn't want to be friends with them no more. All right, we'll keep reading. This is crazy. We got to the party island and we had alcohol. I may have had drank 1, 2, if not a whole seltzer. Worried about second football season. Self-service sucks here. Nolan. Something happened to you and not being able to call for help. Wyatt. Nolan side-eyed it. Nolan snapped photo video. Wyatt had been sniffing cocaine all morning. Wyatt tries to grab phone, tell him put it down. Nolan jerks it back. This fuels his death. 12 hours later, Nolan already had Lincoln not to go to the pool party later. Long amicity with Wyatt. Guys, we didn't debunk this before. I can't believe this is circulating right now. I can't even believe Nancy Grace talked about this. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. I don't even know if I want to read the rest of this because it's insane and it's a waste of time. I'm actually let me actually look at the actual letter because I want to make sure the actual letter even says this. This is absolutely ludicrous. All right, so the actual letter does say we got to the party island and we had alcohol. I may have drank. If not, Nolan, like, let's go to the next page. We've already debunked all this. Nolan was only put on the boat to be transferred back to the island between 3 to 5 a.m. July 6th. That's why he wasn't found initially on the island. He was stored somewhere cool and dark and kept decomposing. There's another letter. Hold on. Let me look at this other one too.
I want to talk about not what you want to talk about, Brandon Tatum, which is they had nothing to do with this because I met them and I believe them. So noted. Can we talk about potential witness to an altercation? And she seems to suggest it was over Katie. Why? Don't know what the altercation was. Maybe it was, hey, leave her alone and get on the boat. Or leave her alone, she's my girlfriend. Or it could be anything.
So there is more letters to this letter. So let me continue reading because this is more pages. They went off to the side with Nolan as if they had to huddle and talk about ultimately it was to beat him up, maybe even kill him if he fought back. They wanted him to take a, what does that say? A break because his life has been too easy. He needs to feel pain, teach him a lesson. Nolan was brave. He died. I can't believe I'm reading this, man. I really can't believe I'm reading this to you guys. I can't believe people are falling for this. I really can't. And then it goes on to say, they may have hid his something somewhere because he was in the dining. They would have had to overpower him. They've been sizing him up for a long time. And then it says the mom was drinking, and at the point she needed, I don't know if you guys remember this. Most of this stuff right here, and you know, I'm not even going to finish this. I'm not even going to waste our time. Most of this stuff right here from this letter came the first week after Nolan was found, and people were pushing this picture. You guys remember this picture? This picture, people started circulating and spreading this picture, and some people started going on TikTok saying that Nolan Wells was jumped at the pool party and that he was bleeding from the mouth and bleeding from the nose. And then the mother of the house came out, kicked everybody out, but made Nolan stay. That was the whole story behind this picture. Come to find out, this picture was actually taken June 27th, a week before Nolan, or a week before 4th of July, an exact week. So this picture had nothing to even do with the 4th of July. And this picture, if you look to the right of your screen with the red circles, I believe it should be your right. This was actually reposted by Ben Crump at the time. Even Ben Crump, the attorney, reposted this before he even did his research. And he reposted it saying, the streets are talking. Now listen, I don't know if these are facts or rumors because no official statements have been confirmed. We sometimes have to follow all clues until the truth is found. Here is what was discovered on social media last night. Social media allegations claim a photo exists of Nolan at a land-based pool party in Jackson County before 1 a.m. on July 5th. Now, I have nowhere near the resources that Ben Crump says, but you know how long it took me to find out where that picture came from? It took me 20 minutes to look online to find the exact post where this picture came from. I still have the screenshots of the exact post of where this picture came from. So if it took me 20 minutes to find this out, Ben Crump, who should have a whole research team, they should have looked and found it before me, before they even posted that. They posted that and all of a sudden all craziness broke loose. And so you can see for yourself, look at this, July 19th, this lady posted, what they saying happened from friends of friends. Nolan Wells update. The after party on land, Nolan was fighting Wyatt over his phone and winning. The other guys jumped in and smashed Nolan's head. And so as you see, this was from July 19th. And this is somebody posting already that it was a fight over his phone. And they're posting this on July 19th. That last one was back in July. So look how it's slowly resurfacing. Look at this, August 10th. Bombshell witness claim was Nolan Wells jumped over his phone. A woman claiming she was near Horn Island says she witnessed an argument escalate after Nolan allegedly demanded his phone back, followed by a physical fight involving multiple people. She also claims video exists and that she contacted someone she saw there. The account remains unverified, but if investigators confirm it, the timeline surrounding Nolan's final hours could face explosive new scrutiny. I can't believe that this letter is mysteriously making its rounds on the internet. It even made it to Nancy Grace. Why it feels like I'm the only one that remembers this story that was pushed to us right after it happened. I just read to you back in July, somebody making a post of pretty much exactly what happened, fighting over his phone. So we're going to go back to that video. The very first video we saw was somebody saying, give me back my effing phone. And everybody's already confirmed that wasn't even Nolan. That was Tristan that said that. Come on, guys. We can't be serious here. We can't be serious. It seems like every time there's a narrative that gets debunked, all right, somebody tries something else. It is getting out of hand, outrageous. I can't believe this. It's like people want to try their best to either lie, blame, not accept accountability, or just fill in the gap and straight out tell a BS lie to you. It's ridiculous. Speaking of BS lies, we're going to get into this other thing that people have sent to me. So check this out.
Okay, so Nolan Wells, 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Pay attention. But from the guy with his hand up and supposedly Wyatt on the phone contacting Cito. There will be a hand as they're pulling the rope. There will be a hand right there. I kept zooming in so you can catch it. The hand that flops up and flops back down once the rope is pulled. Do you see it? Right between the guy with the blue shorts on with his hand reaching up in the air and Wyatt on the phone. Look down right there. See? Did anyone see that hand? That carbon 9 hand? Did anyone see it? They covered him up with a tarp. He's on the boat. So it makes sense why he says 7 first and change it to 6.
Unfreaking believable. So I asked AI, what was this I have circled here? And this is what it told me. It says, looking closely at the circled area, the orange object appears to be a person's arm, forearm, and possibly part of their hand extending across the stern transom area. I don't think the orange...
Well, as you see, some people think that's Nolan's hand that's popping up on the side of the boat. These pictures originally came from Officer Tatum. Originally was this video right here, which we are going to take a look at. All right. Oh, man. So let's take a look at this, guys. You can let me know what you think, if it's his hand or not. All right. So as you see, the guy right here, he's pulling a rope. See the rope? Let's look at it in full speed. So you see him pulling a rope, right? Let's look at it a couple more times so, you guys can see that he's pulling a rope. So if he's pulling a rope, that means the rope is going towards him. Let's look at this in slow motion right now. This is the unedited video, all right? Now you can clearly see, if you look closely, you could see the rope, okay? Look at the dark blue shorts. You see the bottom. You see the rope. You see how it's 2 ropes, like almost like it's 2. It's not just one. Do you guys kind of see what I mean? It might be harder for you guys to see. It's not just like 1 rope. It's 2. Even when you look at the girl in the back, you can see a distinction between the 2 ropes. All right. So there's 2 ropes he's pulling. All right. Which could be 1. And I'm going to explain this to you. So you keep going. There's Wyatt on the phone with Cito. Let's slow this down. Now, if you look down here by the fan, you are going to see something pop up. You see that? That's people claiming that's Nolan's hand. But let's follow the trajectory of the way it goes. It's kind of going up. You see it's going up. But at the same time, it's going down and forward. It's following the young man who was pulling the rope. So it looks like that object is getting pulled towards that way. Let's keep going. You see how it keeps going? Like it's going forward. Going forward. Let's back it up a little bit so you can see it. See, that's the end of it. Going forward, you can still see a little tad bit of it. Not a lot. It's gone. And then let's look at, slowly go, slowly go. You see him pulling the rope? Which way is he pulling it? See how it's two different? Isn't he pulling it towards him? So guys, this is how I could tell the people who's making this, doing this stuff, has never been on a boat before. Yeah, y'all might have been on some party boats. Y'all might have been on some yachts with a DJ. But obviously you never been on a boat like this. You never went out on the water in a fishing boat like this. Never had an issue, never had to tie down the boat or any of that, all right? So let me show you this right here. To tow a boat with another boat safely, use a sturdy floating nylon or braided line, rated for high tensile strength between 4,000 to 6,000 pounds. Minimum. Attach a transom bridle or bridle to distribute the load on the towing boat and connect it to the bow eye of the towed vessel. Once again, attach a transom bridle or bridle, I've heard people pronounce it both, to distribute the load on the towing boat. As you see, it gives you a diagram here of how you can tow the boat. Now, if you tow it with two ropes, okay, hopefully, let me move my face over a little bit. Move my face over. Now, if you tow it with two ropes, okay, you see how you got the rope here? This is one rope, but you can also have two ropes. V bridle, and then look right here, add optional rope floats. You see these right here? They go on the rope. You see that? You guys see that? How do you know it's not that was being pulled with the rope? For you people who claim to don't think that's a hand, what do you think that's for? What do you think it's for? I'll let you think. You probably don't know because you've never been on the boat. These are used for a couple reasons: to distribute the weight, not during a tow or you're pulling, let's say, somebody in a tube or something like that. And not only that, some of these are used, or floaters, whatever you want to call them, so the rope doesn't sink and get caught in the propeller of the boat. You know, a propeller, right? That in the water, if the rope sinks, it gets caught in there. Now you're screwed. The propeller's broke. These are designed so it can keep the water, or I should say the rope, above the water. All right. So let's take a look at that again. Let's take a look at this again. You see it go by? And once again, he's pulling the rope and it looks like two separate pieces. So why is he pulling two separate pieces of rope? Maybe because of how they did it, and maybe because they were using that device, all right, to help tow the boat. Because remember, they're towing the boat. Let's take a look at this one more time. One more time. You see it? You see it? Oh, but remember, you guys said that was a hand. Let's take a look at a 22-foot Triton while we're here, okay? Here is a 22-foot Triton right here, the first one, 2005 Triton, all right? Let's take a look at some pictures of the inside. As you see, the inside is very similar to what they had. All right? Very similar. You see this area right here? Kind of a small area. Now, somebody could be laying down in that area. I guess they could be knocked out in the area if that's what you want to say. But that's the area right here. And you have another person standing pretty much right here. He would probably be on his side if he was laying down there and he stuck his hand up. Only difference is, you see, this has 2 motors on the back. But very similar boat. Very similar. Now that I showed you that, so do you see how this BS goes on in this case? I haven't been doing this channel long. I've had this channel for a year now, and I've already grown to 35,000 subscribers. Actually, my goal by the end of the summer was to hit 25,000 subscribers originally. And guess what? I've hit 35,000 just as of yesterday, and the summer's not even over with yet. We still got a few weeks. So I succeeded, and thanks to you guys. So please like and subscribe. But one of the reasons I know why I succeeded is because when you come to Fugitive TV, I try and give you the truth, and I try and break down these facts for you, and I try and break down these cases for you. And we try and follow all evidence, and we try and follow all leads. If somebody's story is inconsistent, we're going to find it, and we're going to let you know, hey, their story's not matching up. All right? I'm going to let you know what's a rumor or what a witness has said compared to what is facts. Because it's okay to say a witness said this, doesn't mean it's facts. It's okay to say, well, the rumor is on the street, but you have to let people know this is a rumor. It's not facts. But I just showed you some clips of people who were saying, oh, this is a fact. This is Nolan's hand. I know it's his hand. I know he was jumped at the pool party. So you see the letter circulating again. They think we're dumb. I can't believe that. Now, I knew the letter was out today, but I didn't have time to read it. So that was in real time, me looking at that letter, real time. And once I started reading, I'm like, we heard this already. So why are people putting it back out again? You guys let me know, why do you think people are putting it back out again? Now, we have Nancy Grace under fire, guys. We don't know if she got assist and deceased. We don't know what's going on. Now, we do know, do you guys remember Nancy Grace interviewed Officer Tatum? Officer Tatum is the one who interviewed the boys and their lawyers. She interviewed Officer Tatum about Nolan's cell phone. And Nancy Grace was in shock and disbelief that the family has not given over the cell phone yet. She was in shock of this, all right? Matter of fact, before I show you or read to you this, let's take a look at Brian Enton. And Brian Enton is talking with somebody who does cell phone forensics. Now, I like Brian Enton. He's one of the people I actually, when I first started my channel, I started looking at Brian Enton as a mentor. He doesn't know it, but I started looking at him as a mentor because he has a lot of great qualities about himself, such as asking follow-up questions when he doesn't know anything. Take a look at what's going on.
You doing your iPhone. If you went through and deleted messages, can those still be found?
They can be found, but again, we have to preserve that device. The more we continue sending it, using it to send messages, to be powered on and in use, there are areas that can be recovered that can potentially contain those deleted messages. So until the phone is continued to be used, what we call a journaling file or write-ahead log within the messaging database, that can still be there and it can still be forensically recovered. Now, if we go back a year from now, it is much less likely to still be recoverable. But there are other pieces like notification histories, so that we may be able to see a message was incoming or being sent. So it'd be really important to look not only within the messaging databases, but within all of the other activities of the device.
What do you mean by notification histories?
So iPhone specifically, we have a database that keeps track of who was our most recent contacts. So even if we were to delete a message or delete a call entry, there are areas within the operating system that keep track of that data regardless of what the user does with the information. So they may delete it so you can't see the text message anymore, but those notifications can still be present and located.
Do you know about?
I was right about a few videos ago. I said that when you reach that 30-day limit on taking forensics from a cell phone, it becomes iffy. Not only that, now any defense attorney can go into the courtroom and argue, well, who had the evidence for 40, 50 days? Oh, the parents had the evidence? Oh, yeah. How do we know it wasn't tampered with, Your Honor? Can we toss that away? Evidence should get tossed every single time because it wasn't collected in time. Now, are the Ben Crump, are they doing this on purpose? We don't know. I can't say if they are or not. I can give you my suspicions, but I don't know if they are or not. Well, Nancy Grace interviewed Officer Tatum. She couldn't believe they didn't hand over the cell phone. And a lot of us watching that show couldn't believe Nancy Grace didn't believe it because Officer Tatum's trying to explain to her, hey, Ben Crump's attorneys put out a letter saying, we are ready to give the cell phone over. So if they're saying we are ready to give it over, that means they still have the cell phone. And Nancy Grace said, how do you know they still have it? Remember that? Well, Nancy Grace also had the lady who sweetened the CTO call. Remember the CTO call? That she sweetened or enhanced? Nancy Grace had her on the show too. Well, Nancy Grace took that episode down. That episode's not there no more. I told you guys that call was not legit. That's another piece of evidence that would get thrown out of court. Why? Because it wasn't the original call. Anytime you start taking evidence and you tamper with it, you got to toss it. It's got to go. You can't even present it to a jury no more. Got to go. Or present it to the judge. Has to get dismissed. You tampered with the call. How do we know you didn't add any extra voices to it or anything like that? We don't know. You tampered with it. Well, she had to take that down. All right. And a lot of people looking at that episode and then a couple other episodes of Nancy Grace like, hold on, what's going on? Nancy Grace should be doing, some deeper diving. Now, I'm not hating on Nancy Grace. Actually, I look just like I told you earlier. I watched Brian Enton, as a mentor. I did the same thing with Nancy Grace. I still do because I learned from watching her too. But I do realize on some episodes, I realize sometimes the research is not there. So I don't know if her team is just behind. I don't know what's going on. But Edward Andrew Podzik, I believe it's called Podzik, the attorney for the boys. All right. He wrote this to Nancy Grace. Check this out. Because he was on her show. He said, letter 2, stop asking clown questions. He said, Nancy Grace, stop asking clown questions. You claim to care about the truth regarding Nolan Wells. I'm really beginning to wonder about that. If you want to know the truth, why do you keep asking bad faith questions that have nothing to do with the events of July 4th, 2026? As a former prosecutor, you should know better than to ask irrelevant questions that are calculated only to anger and inflame. Get it? Anger and inflame as in your audience. You open our interview by asking me how I became involved in the representation of my completely innocent friends, Warren, Hudson, and Jax. Morgan, you surely knew this question should not be answered for multiple reasons. The 3 best reasons are attorney, client, privilege, safety, and relevance. Because when he was on her show, the very first thing Nancy asked him was, or one of the first things I should say, was how did you become their attorney? And he's saying she knew better. This is attorney-client privilege. You're not supposed to discuss this stuff outside of the office or a phone call. Because you asked an incredibly stupid question and wasted everybody's time. So here are 3 good faith questions for you. Did you really think I would divulge attorney-client privilege communications? Did you really think I would expose the individuals involved in my retention to death threats and calls for violence by revealing their names? Given that I was nowhere near Horn Island on July 4th, 2026, or anywhere near Mississippi for that matter, can you come up with any earthly reason as to how your bad faith clown question would bring us closer to the truth about what happened to Nolan? Bad faith. Nancy, clown question. I gotta laugh. This is funny. This is funny. As a bad faith clown question, you are going to receive an answer about matching blue pickups. Ask some good faith questions and you'll get answers that move us all closer to the truth. You need to stop putting the onus on your guests to respond to Bat-S crazy conspiracy theory. Suggestion: talk about the actual facts. A good starting point would be to tell your audience about the fact that there were 24 folks on a board between Triton and Tideline. Why have none of those 24 folks endorsed any of the Bat-S crazy conspiracy theories about Nolan being on board these boats? The outrage factory has been going full throttle for well over a month, and yet no evidence has emerged in support of this conspiracy theory. Shocker. By the way, try letting your guests actually speak instead of constantly talking over them. You might actually learn something. Holy smokes. Then he puts, be better. So he's got a third letter. He says, I've been to Horn Island, Mississippi. You know the actual location? Have you? The tragic death of Nolan Wells did not occur on a deserted island in the South Pacific. It occurred on a heavily trafficked, well-known island not far from the Mississippi mainland. On July 4th, 2026, beneath a bright sun, there were thousands of people packed in a relatively small area on the western portion of this barrier island located near Biloxi. Moreover, the west end of Horn Island is extremely narrow, mostly flat, and essentially devoid of trees or other visual objects. If your goal was to commit a heinous crime and get away with it, Horn Island during daylight hours on July 4th, 2026 would have been quite possible your worst choice of location. I said that from day one. Plenty of witnesses, lots of light, no cover. Our completely innocent friends, Warren Hudson, Jax Patilio, Morgan Seymour, departed from Horn Island long before the nightfall. All right. And he goes on to do letter 4. Our completely innocent friends, Warren, Jax, and Morgan, have long since turned in their phones to law enforcement for examination. They were not compelled to do so by a warrant or any other court order, totally voluntarily. Is this the behavior of people who have something to hide? The same cannot be said for Nolan's phone, though. August 17th and still unexamined. July 4th is well in the rearview mirror, month and a half. That's an odd contrast, isn't it? I thought the goal was to get answers. Maybe you've been asking the wrong folks for answers. Ed and Tyler, aka Clown Question. So he goes on with a letter 5 and he's saying, Nancy Grace, you are obsessed with the wrong call. Start talking about the CTO call and start talking about the Coast Guard call now. A little after 11 p.m. Central on July 4th, 2026, Warren Hudson personally called the Coast Guard to get help locating Nolan Wells. And he's right. Why nobody talks about that call? Everybody talked about the CTO call, but nobody wants to talk about the Coast Guard call. Then he goes on to letter 6. New show idea for you, Salem Witch Trials with Nancy Grace. More on that in a moment. But first, it's time to remind folks about your leadership role in the Duke lacrosse hoax. Ooh, he's throwing dirt. The Duke lacrosse hoax. That's what we call a credibility problem. You were out front cheerleading a Duke lacrosse hoax mob, all while gleefully handing out pitchforks and torches to your useful idiots. The innocent were presumed guilty. That little inconvenient thing called evidence was tossed into the garbage. Now the hoax mob is back and out in full force for our completely innocent friends. I don't know if you guys know about the whole Duke lacrosse incident, all right? I would have to look it up and tell you guys about it. But just to give you a quick what happened with that, Duke lacrosse, like some people on the team got found guilty, all right, because some people were lying on him or whatever it was. Nancy Grace was like the cheerleader for it because she was always on the show saying, yeah, they did it. Come to find out, they didn't do it. They were innocent. And I believe the person who lied on them, I believe they went to jail over that. I would have to look that up. You guys let me know below if they went to jail or not. Letter 7, Salem Witch Trials with Nancy Grace, the true crime show where good citizens caught in Salem Nancy's crosshairs must pass a polygraph to prove their innocence. Prove to Salem Nancy you're not a witch, guilty until proven innocent. Polygraphs almost never admissible in court, definitely admissible in Salem Nancy's kangaroo court. Take that polygraph or else you're definitely guilty. Oh, because Nancy Grace was so hung on. Did these boys take a polygraph test? Did these boys, and Nancy should know, they don't even use polygraphs in court. They don't even use it. Guys, when I turned myself in, I was interrogated for 4 or 5 days because they wanted to know everything I did. How did I get away for so long? How was I moving from country to country? How was I getting past borders? What was I doing? So they didn't believe me. They thought I had help. They thought I had maybe bought information off somebody else. So they were giving me a polygraph test. I took 2 of those tests, all right? And I can tell you exactly how those tests are done. I've mentioned this in some of my other videos and other cases, exactly how they're done. It's almost like you don't pass or fail. What they do is all they're doing is using that polygraph test to try and get information out of you. That's all they're doing. So they'll do something like, let's say they'll ask you a broad question, as in like, oh, what's your name? My name is this and that. Where were you born? I was born this and that. Now they won't ask you a direct question like, did you, just say you're accused of, let's say, unaliving Sarah. They won't ask you a direct question like, did you unalive Sarah? They won't say that. They'll say something like, do you know about Sarah's unaliving? They'll ask you a question like that, all right? It's really broad. And then what happens is after the test, they'll interrogate you and then they'll say, well, the part where you said, or when we asked, do you know about unaliving Sarah? You kind of seem hesitant. We don't think you were telling the truth. So why don't you tell us the truth right now about what happened to Sarah? And then if you're weak-minded, you might be thinking in your head like, oh man, okay. Maybe I got to tell them the truth. This is what happened. And they're just lying to you. That's really what the polygraph test is. The polygraph test is really based on the interrogation who's giving you the test and how they can use that test as a tool to get the truth out of you. So guys, what an experience today we had. A letter popped out, and the letter, come to find out, pretty much is saying the exact same thing that was said almost a month ago or last month. So it was no surprise once you read the letter. I don't know who these people are fooling. I'm wondering who made this letter and who put it out. As I saw, these letters are creeping around August 10th, as in like somebody wrote it on a piece of paper. I don't know. We're trying to find where the letter came from. If you know where it came from, like I said, you're welcome to hit me up. My contact information is always in the description box. You can even contact me anonymously if you want to. It's fine. I get a lot of people that do it, and I understand. You want to keep your name out of it. Even if you contact me just with your regular email, I'll still keep your name out of it. I don't talk about anybody like that. This is how I gain my trust and integrity on this channel. And I want to say thank you to everybody who has been reaching out to me from the Ocean Springs, Biloxi, Mississippi. A lot of you have reached out to me about this case, giving me tips, showing me some things, and it wasn't for you guys, a lot of the stuff I wouldn't be able to debunk it. So I want to say thank you, and also thank you to the people who have joined the membership channel. Thank you so much. That helps me and able to start doing this channel full time for you guys, taking on cases, going remote, and doing things like that. Hey, like Brian Enton does. All right. Please comment below. It adds to the algorithm. Let me know what you think. Let me know if these people really think we're just dumb. Do they really think we're dumb? And does Nancy Grace need to get some more people on her research team that might do better work? You know, like I said, I like Nancy Grace. I'm not going to hate. I like Nancy. I watch her shows and I've learned a lot from her. I cannot say I have not. All right. But I do realize some of the research will be like 4 or 5 days late, or the research will not be accurate, because I know she's not probably doing the research. She probably has a team that does it and they just pass it on to her. But let me know about that below. And please go on Facebook, follow and like Fugitive TV. All right. Trying to get the follows up on Facebook and post more on there, and go to X, Fugitive TV on there. Please go follow on there. All right. Guys, take care of one another. Love one another. Watch your surroundings. Look out at your surroundings. And until next time, this is Fugitive TV, and I'm out.